Okay, so welcome along. This is a new one on Idealist Music, basic channel style vibes. Nice way to start the show, I hope. Or the whatever we call this. Yeah, so we kind of know what we're getting here, don't we? Yeah, but you can never have too many of those tracks if they're done well. This one's a little bit lighter, a little bit swingier. And a slightly different kind of lead in there. But yeah, the info is on the other side, and we'll see exactly who's on it now. Pablo Mateo and Scuzzy9. Stuff. I'm not sure if they take a side each there or what the story is. Each side sounds quite different to each other, so it could be the case. But a lot of nice bass pressure actually on that side, especially as well. This one is on Delft, and unfortunately they're not using the nice sleeves that they've been using before. But it's still the same recognizable Delft logo there and sound, because they do kind of nice acidy stuff. Yeah, really nice stuff. Really nice stuff. Shades of Other Day by Jeff Mills creeping in there actually. But yeah, nice stuff on this label. Similar actually to the Alien Rain stuff. Yeah, very authentic acid record, acid tracks. Yeah, I really like this label, I have to say. It's probably one of my favourite of the last year, and he's banged out a fair few on it actually. Okay, he's kind of showing his minus side here a little bit. A nice little DJ tool all the same. Next up we have one by a bit of an old hero here, Mark Verbos. Mark Verbos is an American producer. I'm not sure, is he from New York? I think he is. This is on The Bunker, New York. Yeah, funny story actually about Mark Verbos now that I think of it. He used to run a label called Simple Answer, and I remember maybe about 10 years ago this mix went up online, and it was by supposedly by Jeff Mills and Robert Hood at the Limelight in the early 90s, and everybody was freaking out over it, saying this is unbelievable, how did they come across this, how have we never heard of it, oh wow, Mills and Hood, you know, in the heyday, this is, what a mix, what a mix. Now if you listen to the mix though, you could easily hear that there were some new tracks in it. At the time there was, or some recent stuff, at the time there were things like Gaiden, Point Blank, and some really good hard techno at the time, but there was a lot of old, very old stuff, like old Mill stuff, early like waveform transmission material, all that kind of thing. And you know, some of these die-hard Mills and Hood fans should really have known by listening to some of it that it wasn't from that era. That some of the tracks were clearly new tracks. But to cut a long story short, everyone was freaking out. Best mix of the century. But once the word actually came out that mix had been mislabeled and it was by Mark Verbos, suddenly a lot of online opinion changed a lot, and all of a sudden it was an ordinary mix, and it was too hard anyway, all this kind of stuff. And it was kind of interesting. I remember reading an interview with Mark Verbos around the time where he spoke about this, and he said that, you know, unless you're in that top 5 or 6 or 8 people who all have the history, who all have the, you know, the important records that everyone rates, you don't really get a look in. And I thought it was it was a pity. He was really speaking the truth. Someone who's put out an awful lot of records, who's a great producer, but who could never really make it up to that to that next level that a lot of people aspire to. That's obviously very hard to reach. But Mark Verbos is, when he's making techno, he's one of the best in the game. And a lot of those Simple Answer records, try and hunt them down. He's also a great studio engineer, and has been involved in all kinds of projects actually. But yeah, this one is on the Bunker New York, as I said. Good label. Onto the flip. Slightly slower Acids one. Kind of a darker atmospheric track on the inside. Reminds me a little bit of old Freddy Fresh actually. But yeah, nice stuff. Really good one on the Bunker, which is a really good label, I have to say. This one is by a Sagittarian. And I don't know who the Sagittarian or a Sagittarian is actually. It appears like it might be somebody that's been around for quite a few years, who's using an alias. A nice kind of donkey cowbell there. Reminds me a little bit of Kicks Like a Mule, the bouncer actually, used in a similar way. I suppose this is looped in a slightly different kind of way, but certainly very distinctive sound, similar to that. Yeah, I like the Sagittarian stuff. Some is very deep. Other stuff though, is a lot more clubby too, but brings a nice dimension to sets. I suppose in both house and techno, I can imagine that a lot of house heads play his stuff as well. Different vibes here. A little break here. And this, I believe, is his own label, Elastic Dreams. And he's up to number 11 on that already. And yeah, really good label actually. You should try get your hands on some of those. Most of them have been really good. Yeah, nice cheerful kind of cut there. No dark, gloomy techno where he's involved. Okay, now onto this one, and I've never actually tried to say this guy's name, but let's try it now. In Aeternam Vale. Okay, I'm sure I've got that completely wrong, but anyway, he's called in Aeternam Vale according to me. So, and the name of this record is called Self Destruct. And it's on a really cool label called Linda Records. You can see some of the stickers there, possibly. I don't know if I've even got it at the right tempo, actually. It's a funny one. Because we could kind of do it that way. Or we could do it that way. I kind of like it at 45 and pitch back a little bit. Oh, but hang on, yeah. Even pitch back all the way down is quite fast. So I'm guessing maybe it is 33. I like it anyway. And Linda Records, the girl that runs this label, her name is Jackie, and Linda was her mother's name, and she decided to call the label after her mother, and it's really cool. Nice logo there of her eyes and the name Linda. So I think that's a really unusual and cool idea. And this is the first release on that label. I have to say, I think I'm digging this one more than the other side. Kind of a minimalist acids track. Nice little break here. Yeah, definitely one to be heard, played out loud. I think that tracks like these will really come into their own when they're played in big spaces. Some nice business going on there. Yeah, very solid offering, and then into a sort of beatless inside track here as well. The kind of which I love opening sets with, so straight away I'm thinking of this record in terms of the inside track. I know that might sound a bit funny, even though we've got two solid techno tracks on it as well, but I love these kind of, it's not quite an interlude because it's at the end of the track, but yeah, these kind of beatless jobs, they're very nice to set the tone at the beginning of the set, and I'll no doubt be using it for that. Another label, newish label actually, that, and we've got more than one on this today to play. Yeah, actually, what is? I've seen this label so many times. How do I say it again? Aufnahme and Wiedergabe is the name of the label. Yeah, some pretty cheerful summer music on this one, as you can hear. Yeah, this one's pretty mean. Actually, the intro here is probably where I should be kicking in from. You get the full impact of it now. That built up quite nicely actually. Yeah, actually that was the one I was thinking of. Actually not too dissimilar to one of the tracks on the first Black Necks release. Like a more angry Steve Stahl track maybe. Although you'd put it all in the same kind of category, there is kind of a nice range in terms of the beats. That inside one is quite useful as well in another way. Now onto a new one by Randomer. This one is on L.I.E.S label he has been on before. Yeah, kind of quite tribal rhythms here. One thing that has to be said for Randomer, and I think Kamikaze Space Program as well is another guy, and I've got a couple of their, I've got another record by each of them as well. Is they've they've really pushed on that sound that I think Blauen did really well. That real shuffly, wiry kind of sound that they do. But yeah, I think both producers do their own thing very distinctively as well. And some of randomer stuff now is just it's just unbelievable. It really changes the party, changes the whole vibe in a club when you drop one of his tracks. Yeah, I'm enjoying this one actually. It's a 6-tracker altogether, I think. 5-tracker actually. Yeah, yeah. You have to excuse me. Sometimes I play tracks just the way that the way I actually would listen to them in general. So I know sometimes I'm flicking back over the same sections. This one is by the Psychic Warriors of Gaia, who are an interesting act. Someone who I don't know loads about. They're from Holland anyway. They were a duo. And they came in the late 80s, early 90s, and they're from that kind of, I don't know what area you'd put them in, but I suppose loosely speaking, the techno, trance, tribal, hippie area, I suppose, of early techno and rave stuff. Well, a lot of their stuff is just really rough and raw and. The kind of act I would have loved to have seen live back in the day. I'm assuming they did play live. I'm pretty sure they did. But this is a reissue. Yeah, it's from 1989. The only problem with some of these tracks is they're quite long and they're all squeezed onto like, you know, the one track on one side is like 13 minutes long. I think the first one here. So you're getting up, you know, on the way up to 20 minutes per side. So unfortunately, the punchiness of each track isn't quite what it could be. Then again, who knows how these tracks were, what they were taken off. Maybe they're taken off tape or whatever. They're not going to be the sharpest in certain ways anyway. But yeah, definitely something you could play out, but also a very rewarding listen here, I think. Something very, very organic, I suppose, about the whole sound. Just something very free about the way they make music. Just lots of nice little developments and changes, and guys that were doing things 100% the way they wanted to do them. So yeah, Psychic Warriors of Gaia. They've a lot of stuff out actually. I don't have too many of the records, just a couple. But it was nice being able to pick this one up, I have to say. But yeah, it's funny. That's what I was talking about. Putting people like this into the techno and trance category. Some of their stuff was a little bit trancey, but it was funny. At one point, there really was a thin line between techno and trance. I remember, like, you used to have guys like Sven Väth, who would be called the godfather of trance. And then another time, I remember reading something, and like from some gigs, Sven Väth had played somewhere, and you know, in the advertisement for it, he was like being called the king of techno, or the German king of techno. And I'm thinking, hang on, I thought he was the godfather of trance. And you know, it was funny how what a thin line there used to be between both of them. But certainly acts like Psychic Warriors of Gaia, yeah, as you can hear there, ethnic. Don't really hear enough of that in dance tracks nowadays. But when you do drop things like that, they do bring an extra dimension and just something a bit wilder sets or to techno sets or to whatever. Yeah, something that we can sometimes do it, I think, in the very linear, monotone world of techno. Here's a new thing by Antigone, and it's on Token. When I say new, it's probably out a little while, but of course we're covering a 3-month period with this, so I think it was got within the third quarter. Yeah, nice functional kind of stuff from him. Really good French producer. Yeah. Yeah, it's all right. Not the best Token release that I've heard, but it's pretty solid stuff. Let's see on the other one. Yeah, I instantly prefer the sound of that. Yeah, a little bit more urgency or something about this one. Yeah, I think some of those sequences there are a bit more interesting than what's on the first disc. A bit more of a slower, broken beat. It kind of almost sounds slightly off kilter there. Not too dissimilar to the kind of atmosphere you might hear in something by Lacquer or somebody like that. There was a break in between. Oh, that is the break there. Hang on. Ah, of course. I thought it was 2 tracks there. Actually, it's 1 long track. So it should have really sounded like this. I liked it the way it sounded the other way too. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little bit more like that nowadays. That I sometimes it is nice to hear tracks at a different speed and you just go for it. But now I find sometimes I'm equally satisfied from a listening perspective from hearing at both 33 and 45. And maybe it's a sign of a good track that if your tune is going to be at 45, that it also sounds good at 33, and that one certainly did. Well, I think it did anyway. Okay, so that's Antigone, and that's from his double pack, or was it an album? Yeah, sometimes people refer to what they do as a double pack rather than an album, and I think that could be deemed a double pack. Right, that sounds right. 33 there. This is by a new producer from Dublin called Zero Fooks. So this is the first one on it. Kind of like a loopier DJ Tool kind of track. Not too dissimilar to some of the old User records, but maybe with a more distorted kick drum. And I think that's one of the features of his record is some of the distortion on the kick here. There's some of the sounds that he's playing, that he's layering over the top, and some of the leads. They could actually work well with a slightly less heavy kick drum, but I think with a heavier kick drum, it gives it a really good identity of its own. And that guy Zero Fooks is is Conan O'Donnell. Some of you from Dublin will surely know him. Really good DJ who's been making music for a fair bit of time actually, but he's starting to put some of it out now. Yeah, good kind of heavy jacking track there. And a nice bit of progression at the ends. Yeah, look at that one. Okay, so that's number 1 on that label. Producer who is who rarely does anything that isn't excellent is Martin. Yeah, and it sounds like one of those kind of speak and spell sample vocal things in the background there, used quite stylishly. A nice break there as well underneath it. Yeah, I have to say I love Martin's stuff. It's very pro sounding actually, for somebody in that makes stuff in the house and techno area. But a guy who used to make, I think he used to make drum and bass, didn't he? And a bit of a kind of almost like a dubstep type wobble there, but nice little bit of a breaky, shuffly kind of track here. Yeah, very good stuff by him. Yeah, Martin is one of the best really. A guy that kind of comes with some records, then you kind of forget about him for a while. He doesn't have much out for a while, but then he comes back and kind of reminds you how good he is. He's appeared on Dolly before actually, and the last one he brought out was another personal fave of mine on that label. Dolly being Steffi's label. I'm not sure if she runs it with Dexter now, does she? Or maybe that was Klaxon, I can't remember, but Steffi is certainly the main face of Dolly Records. Yeah, nice little bit of a this kind of brooding bass line underneath there. Kind of reminds me of the early 2000s era when that sound was in techno a lot. But yeah, that's done really well. One label we've had before on this is Ozone. I'm not sure who's doing all these. I think so. I heard recently, and to be honest, I didn't give a shit. I didn't care who it was. There used to be a time where I'd really care who did every single release and all the rest. Like somebody said some of them were by Lego Velt, or some of them could have been from DJ House, maybe did one. I thought it was a few people, but then somebody told me that it was one producer doing most of them. And I forgot who it was, so... yeah. So, I really don't care, but I really do like the records, I have to say. They're a little bit hit and miss, and this perhaps isn't as good as what was the one? Oh, I forget. There was another Ozone one I think I've had on this before. But some nice elements in that. Yeah, always with little nods to the old school. Not as much on this one, perhaps. But anyway, doing my playing it again routine there. Not a bad one on Orezone. Here is one by an old act called Meat Beat Manifesto. Oh fuck, it's not actually Meat Beat Manifesto. I meant to bring that. This one is the Fear Ratio, which I'm sure I might have... Did I play this on the last one? I don't think I did, but I had another one by Meat Beat Manifesto, which I did mean to bring, which I didn't, but they look the exact same. So anyway, you win some, you lose some, but obviously the Fear Ratio, Mark Broom and James Ruskin are a heavyweight partnership as well. And this was like the sampler 10-inch to their album on Scam as well. Really nice of here. Yeah, I kind of wanted to play the Meat Beat Manifesto one also, and to maybe just talk about them a little bit. But I'll see where I put that, and I'll bring it on the next one. Yeah, nice broken rhythms. And some extremely tangled kind of rhythms there, all Tecker like. Yeah, I really like what the guys are doing with this project. It's certainly going into a lot more detail and maybe more mental than their own solo stuff. It's and I'm a big fan of their solo stuff too, obviously. But I think this there's some real good sort of head fuck music on offer throughout the Fear Ratio stuff. But yeah, I think the album, which I don't have yet, is something I will try to play. I should have really had that by now. But yeah, for next time. This one is by Trackman, aka Mark Archer, and this one, this is actually a reissue on Infrastructure, on Function's label, who I believe he runs with Inland now. Now these tracks originally came out on Ideal Tracks, which was like a distributor. Ideal Distribution used to distribute records in the 90s. I think they folded. They're gone now anyway, but like a lot of distributors, they started to struggle in the early 2000s as vinyl sales started to drop a little bit. But they were on a label called Ideal Tracks, and this Trackman stuff by Mark Archer from Alternate. These are actually all the same tracks, so it's basically like a reissue of the tracks that he had on that double pack on Ideal Tracks. I'm not sure if the track Paradise was on it, because I certainly remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, does it mention here at all? It does thank a few people, alright, but yeah, he also had 2 other EPs on Ideal Tracks, both of which are great as well. But yeah, I kind of like what really like what they're doing with Infrastructure now. Yeah, so nice acid flavors there. Yeah, so these are all remastered. Let's see where they're remastered. I would assume it probably will say mastered by Tim Xavier at Man-Made's Mastering in Berlin. He's done a nice job on those. Yeah, and Mark showing some of his Detroit shapes there. Back to acid, and on the other side, nice little range of tunes actually here. Really nice release to have. Kick comes in a bit later, but yeah, definitely a good recommendation there. Mark Archer, one of the legends of the whole thing. Really good one by him, Trackman. So this one is by Umwelt. One of the dudes from France. One of the dudes full stop when it comes to electro and ravey techno. Every so often with electro, it's funny because there's still a really dedicated group of people into electro, and about every 18 months, or no, maybe about every 2.5 years, there's some kind of feature that goes up saying, "Oh, electro's back," and all this kind of stuff, and then usually greeted with the, "Oh, well, it never went away." Well, it never has gone away, and it has kind of stayed the same for many years, but yeah, it's always been there. I don't think it's ever going to be back and just take over. There's certainly been some better days for electro, but there are still some good records being put out, and Umwelt is one of those people. It's funny, sometimes I've been over in France, and we're talking about producers. You'll mention people like Umwelt or Minimum Syndicate to people, and they don't actually know them. And I'm just kind of like, how do you not know them? How do you not know the best people from your country? Do you know what I mean? Umwelt and Minimum Syndicate are the kings of France as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, killer electro from Umwelt. This is on his label New Flesh, which has been running for a long while. There's some really good stuff, some really good electro records. It's a little bit slower. Yeah, so good one by him. That's the most recent one. You know what? I'm forgetting to give the titles. In fact, most of the time I am. But you know, the internet's there. You're looking at it right now, so it's not too hard to track these things down. I'm sure, even if I don't give the title or the name. But apologies that I don't sometimes. This is a new one by DMX Krew, another electro hero, but who does quite a lot of other stuff as well. Yeah, it's my favourite off this one. It's on a label called Zodiac 44, who have been putting out some pretty cool records so far. I think the last one was by Bintus. So it seems to be amongst a similar group of producers, or producers who appear on some of the same labels. Get the drift of that. DMX Krew is a real master. Like, he probably made this record in an afternoon. He's a guy that makes tracks and makes records really fast. You know, just look through his discography. Really prolific, and an excellent producer. He's, in fairness to him, he doesn't really put out any bad records. You know, some of his stuff mightn't be all exactly to my taste, but it's surely all good stuff. This one is by the Exaltics. There's actually one guy, I believe, who runs Solar One Music, and this is on Solar One Music. It's all remixes actually. This there's an ERP remix, there's an Ultradyne remix, there's a Gossip remix, Object, and then there is also Doppler effects, like Gerald Donald. So yeah, good kind of atmospheric, deeper electro on this one. It's the kind of stuff that you can definitely play at special times in a club. I find that I get a fair few of these kind of records, but I don't always tend to play them out then. But it's certainly some nice gear without doubt. It's the Objects one. Somehow, and I know he mightn't like me saying this, but somehow, somewhere in the distance, I can hear God Is a DJ by Faithless. Does anyone else hear that? Could be wrong. Really nice track though. Okay, I'll stop now, but really nice beats. A track by him. And this one is the Doppler effect remix. I don't actually know by the names of all the tracks to remember what the original sounded like. The Exaltics, so who knows what parts they're using or what parts they're not using, but the Exaltics has a serious amount of stuff out. Like, he's done all sorts of retrospective releases and stuff already, and in ways he's still a relatively fresh or new name to a lot of people. But yeah, Solar One Music is his label, which I believe I've played stuff on before. Let me see now. Here's one with some nice kind of cracked artwork on it there. I don't know how that happened, but I kind of it wasn't meant to happen, but I like the way that it is. Although is it an owl? Oh, it's like a man owl. So it's like the artwork is of what is a man, but is also an owl. You can see kind of real teeth coming through, as if he's kind of angry. But then it looks like a kind. Is it an owl? It kind of looks. No, maybe it's not an owl. It's kind of might be like an in between a werewolf, an owl, and Kenny Everett a little bit, maybe. But and it's got a nice crack going through it, which really which is probably what happened to the mirror when that person looked in it. But yeah, I have to say I like that owl, and I like the record as well. This one is by, I think this one is by Fan and Flowers. Let's see. Anyway, Fan and Flowers, Anderson Wings, Yuki Sakai, and Morbeck are on this one, and this is on Overdraw, which is a good upcoming label from Italy. A little bit of a vocal lurking under there. Sounds a little bit like Robot Man, Dupe to Do, but obviously it could be anything. Oh yeah, we're now into this. You have to wait a little while for that to happen, but I think it could be worth the wait. Definitely, would get a good reaction in a club. This is the one I've been playing off it, but I do like all the tracks, I have to say. actually. A little bit like Market Carter paint slightly. Okay, so onto another one now. This one is a new one by Randomer and Cadans, and it is on Clone Basement series. And it's killer, really good. Yeah, both sides are really good, and a couple of times I've actually played the wrong side. Well, certainly did once anyway, but then the other side didn't let me down at all. It still sounded great. I think this is my favourite of it. Yeah, that vocal really sets it off there. Against a kind of slightly Chicago style drums, but overall very distinctive sound. Really good combination between those two producers, Randomer, who I mentioned earlier, and Cadans, who is starting to put out some really good techno now. This one is on Orbus Records, which is pretty slamming, as you can hear already. And the guy is called MSL WTE, and that is actually, I forget what the dude's name is, because somebody was telling me about this guy the other day, over in Leeds. I think he's a local Leeds producer. He's from somewhere like that. So if you remove the vowel, some of the vowels from his name, you're left with WTE, I mean. I forget what the guy's name is actually. It was an interesting surname actually. But anyway, he's turned into MSL WTE for his records, and it's got a Steve Stahl remix on it too. This is the one I like. Like a horror lead or horror loop. It just does one thing, but does it quite nicely. Yeah, I'm not sure which one Steve's remix is. I think it might be this. Let me see. That is the B side. So which one is Steve? Yeah, other side. Sorry, other side. So yeah, that was the Steve Stahl remix, who's been on a good comeback over the last few years. That's great with guys like Steve, that he's continued to make techno and put out techno. It sometimes happens with people who have huge discographies out and they're just putting out EPs for, you know, in their sleep, but perhaps get bored of it after a while and then just disappear, and that's it. It's the end of them. But Steve Stahl's come back, and I've been putting out some good stuff. But yeah, that producer as well, who I just mentioned there, MSL WTE, definitely worth watching out for. This one is by a guy called Pluck with 3Ks. Fearsome stuff there. But yeah, Pluck with 3Ks, and I'm assuming he's no love for the KKK, but he has 3Ks in his name anyway, and maybe just to make it stand out that little bit more. But his yeah, nice kind of beatless atmospheric thing. And then that one as well. Not as heavy as the other side either. So yeah, two two pretty different sides. So nice little bit of variety over that. In her first, you would think that would be a completely slamming 4-tracker, but slightly deeper on the other side. And that's on Sombra Records, and they're from Portugal. This is one on Super Rhythm Tracks, and actually at the moment I just can't keep up with Jerome. He's banging out loads of stuff on this label. This one is by Andreas Gam. It's called the Cologne Ranger. Pretty good acidy stuff, and that's probably my favourite one off it. It's quite nice, kind of sounds like something that would have come out on there by Robert Armani or something back in the day. Yeah, certainly not rewriting the rule book there, but doing really, really good acids tracks, and Super Rhythm Tracks is definitely worth keeping an eye out for. This one is by Phase Fatale. Actually, the one earlier that I played on, I'm sorry, I have to look to the others, Aufnahme and Wiedergabe. The one I played earlier was by an act called Blush Response. This one is by Phase Fatale. Yeah, nice stuff. Maybe for fans of Adam X, Ancient Methods, all that kind of stuff. Yes, nice little snare that comes in on this. This is the one I've been playing mostly off this record. And actually, the riff sound for some, it reminds me a little bit of Cactus by Union Jack a little bit. Some of you might know it from appeared on Platypus Records years ago. Maybe like a slower version of that. Yeah, but a another good release on that. This one, and I'll try to pick up the pace now a little bit. This one is by DJ HMC. Probably my favourite tune by him. It's called 6 AM. I have to say, sometimes when you are playing a track for quite a few years and then it gets reissued or repressed or whatever, you kind of, I don't know, it's funny, maybe all DJs won't admit to this, but certainly when you play a track for a long time and you're possibly the only person that is playing it for seemingly, you do feel a strong bond with that track, almost to the point where you own it, where it's your track. And fuck the guy that made it. But that's kind of what happens sometimes. People might think that, but sometimes you really enjoy playing a track, and it's an absolute monster, and it's and then when other people start playing it and other people start going crazy over it, or people start discovering it, you're kind of going, well, here, hang on, I was playing that years ago, that's my track. It's not my track, it's DJ HMC's track, of course, but just exaggerating there a little bit. But with this, I have to say, I was really happy for it to get reissued, because the copy I have is pretty battered and pretty worn at this stage, yeah, just a really classic acid track by DJ HMC, who also goes by the name of Late Night Tough Guy nowadays, who does disco edits and stuff. I would like to hear HMC make some new stuff, but basically on this label they're all reissued. Well, appears to be all reissued or remastered old tracks. And this one is Marauder, which probably has got more plays than 6 AM over the last few years. I think some of these tracks, especially this, probably became big again through clubs like Berghain and stuff. But yeah, another brilliant old school techno track, I suppose you would call it. But HMC is the first name I think of, and most people think of when you think of Australia and techno. Another techno legend. This one is on Reclaim Your City. The long side is by Giorgio Gigli and Fabrizio Lapiana. yeah, and it's okay. But the one that I like, this one is by Error Etiquette, which is quite nice. But this is the one I'm into the most. NX1, and it's called RC1. And it's got that kind of aggro, distorted percussion there. It's quite nice. Goes into the break and comes back again there. But yeah, that's a really nice one. And it's on Reclaim Your City. And I think the whole idea of this is to put, well, they do run a podcast series, which is about picking people from different cities to represent their city, and they're doing this over the records as well, it would seem. So that one is Rome, Barcelona 1.0. Not too sure how many releases they've had out so far. Not too many, I don't think. That's the second one. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. This one is by Rod. It's not by Jeff Mills. But yeah. Good DJ Tool stuff. Yeah, and this is on Clockworks on Ben Clock's label. Yeah, not loads happening in the tracks. That one seems to have greater ambitions than the other tracks. Now onto the inside track. I quite like this one actually. Screw Democracy. That's one of the great things about techno, I think, and it's possibly one of the ways that techno can be easily made sometimes, but it's something that makes techno sound like techno. It's just grabbing a vocal sample like that and looping it up. And filtering it as well. I suppose a technique that was used first or most prominently initially by Daniel Bell and by people like Kim Rapati and some of these guys in the early 90s, the early minimal techno. But yeah, not a whole lot going on in that track, but the kind of the subtle little vocal sample is nice and would certainly sound quite well loud on the system. So that's that one. Here's one by Dustin Zahn and Emanuel. Emanuel seems to be a little bit of a controversial figure in techno for one reason or another, but he recently had a record under another name that was on Trezor, that was swiftly pulled and from all the shops because one of the tunes, or more than one tune on it, sampled other producers. One in particular that sampled Stanislav Tolkachev. It's all a little bit weird, I think, that whole thing. Okay, besides the sampling, and okay, the guy held his hand up in the end and said, yeah, I sampled it. Sorry about that or whatever. It might have taken him a little while to actually come out and say that, but he did. And you know, people make mistakes or whatever. It does kind of raise the question a little bit in techno now, is how much are people sampling? It was something that used to happen a lot more in the first wave of loop-driven techno, but I have to say I was a little bit surprised to hear of another producer and of someone of Emanuel's caliber, because let's make no mistake, he's a brilliant producer, but I was a little bit surprised to hear that he had sampled someone else's track. But what is all a little bit weird about the whole thing was that Trezor had agreed with him that it was going to be under another name. So seeing as he releases under the name Emanuel normally, well, why was he changing his name to another name for that record? Did Trezor ask him to? Did they know there was a sample? It would appear that they did know there was a sample on the record. But maybe they found out late on. Maybe they found out when the record was being pressed, and then they changed the name. Who knows? But there were stickers on the record that said this features a sample from Stanislav Tolkachev, and I think from another guy, Alexander Volkov, I think is the dude's name. But anyway, it was that guy Emanuel seemed to get an awful lot of hate online that day, and I think a lot of people went to town on him, and I thought it was maybe a little bit over the top. I don't know the guy. I know his music, and I quite like it actually. And this is one of them. This is another one by him. Nice kind of breaky thing. And I've got another one I'm going to play by Emanuel. Shortly as well. This one I really like too. Yeah, very very skilled producer without doubt. And he also runs the Arts label. This is an Enemy, which is Dustin Zahn's label, an Enemy versus Arts release. So Dustin has done the other side. Nice buzzy synth there. Dustin used to make quite hard techno under his own name before, and under the name The Attack People, which he used to do with Ian Lehman. And they were on a real tear for a while as well. I think Ian kind of stepped out of the spotlight a little bit then, or you didn't hear as much from him, while Dustin started to really step up the ladder in the scene. So this is his side. I think it's the inside one I'm digging the most on this, of his side. Yeah, but Dustin's certainly going back to a kind of harder sound. That's a solid one from the both of them. Here's one. I'll try and play some of these quick enough. These are remixes by Steffi. Of a few tracks of hers. The original is here. Which is fine. One thing I'm thinking of just from playing some of the tracks here today is how a lot of the ideas in a lot of the tracks, a lot of the actual changes don't happen until a fair bit into the tracks. It's kind of like loop something up for a few minutes and then hold back on your main elements, then bring them in. And, you know, I suppose that's true of a lot of music, a lot of techno that we've known. But I'm noticing it's a very common feature now in nearly anything I've played so far in the show. A lot of the tracks are almost like they're not going to change or go anywhere, and then something happens a little bit later. It's the Answer Code Request remix, which is quite nice, and it's the inside one I think that I've been playing the most. Yeah, those lads come in there. Yeah, nice stuff from him. This one now is by Mystical. Nyx is the name of the label. They're up to their 4th release now. And Mystical has done some really solid techno actually. And he did that kind of bootleg thing that sampled the old True Fate tune on Network, an old house tune that Jeff Mills was involved in actually from years back. This is the one I'm playing a little bit more, a big long break in it. Actually, when you play it to here, people are going for it, and then it just goes into, it just disappears, and then people kind of start looking up. They might even start kind of cheering as if like they think it's over, or oh, what's happening, hey, and then it's like you kind of nearly have to let them know, here, hang on a sec, this is actually going to come back in, and it does, and it yeah, kind of slams back in. Yeah, a bit of a slammer, that one. That's by Mystical. He's the guy that runs the label as well. I was going to say it sounds a bit Paul Birkin-y, and I think it's because it is Paul Birkin. Yeah, yeah, it is Paul Birkin. This is the Paul Birkin remix. Very distinctive sound. Direct source then is the inside cut on that. We'll go back to Paul's remix for a sec. Paul in a pretty unforgiving mood on that one, and that's one we're picking up as well, and the label's called Nix. Here's one I'll fly through. It's on Granular Art. It's by a guy called Kastle, maybe a girl called Kastle, who knows. Probably a guy called Kastle, you know, and I'm not being sexist, but there is a lot more men making techno than women, and hopefully that balance might shift a little bit in the coming years. There's a lot of really great female producers out there too, but not enough of them yet. But hopefully there will be, because I do feel they bring a different dimension to the music, many of them. Some of my favourites, I suppose, would be Kelly Hand from recent times, people like Paula Temple too. But there's many, but maybe just not as many as we'd like. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that so much. So we believe Kastle could be male, he could be female, or she could be female, but anyway, Kastle, don't know much about this person, but I do know that I really like this inside track, which is a little bit like old sine wave kind of gear. It doesn't do much, but kind of does exactly what you need it to, in a sense. Not one that you're going to be playing for 5 minutes necessarily, but here's one by DJ Haus, who I think I mentioned earlier, and this is on his Hot House Records label. Yeah, I like this guy. All of his music is pure party music. It's very Chicago influenced, but yeah, there's a real mishmash of stuff there. Very much like his own label as well, Unknown to the Unknown. Okay, so you get the idea. A lot of samples, but done well. Yeah, I think the A1 and B1 are the ones there. Here's another one by this is by Shan. Old school vibes on here, and it's on Running Back, which makes it kind of unsurprising then. Yeah, I don't know this guy Shan, or this person Shan. Yeah, nice range of tracks there, I have to say. Yeah, am I going to play every record here? I don't know. Have I done that yet on the on this? I'm not sure. Some I kind of skipped through a little bit, but now that I've started, I will skip through a few quite soon. But this one is by Binny. Liverpool producer who is doing great things, putting out lots of great tracks. Really solid stuff from him. He's also part of the Phantom Planet Outlaws, or is it the Planet Phantom? I think it's the Phantom Planet Outlaws, with John Heckle and Mark Forshaw, but certainly well able to deliver big bangers on his own too, and he's definitely someone that's on his way up. Great producer and DJ as well. Actually, I played with him last year. Really good DJ too. This I meant to play on the last one, and it is from the last quarter rather than the one we're covering now. But the reason I wanted to play it, okay, good record. You've got October and Borai, Hermans and Mr. Ho, TX Connect, and we'll play a few of those. Okay, fine. Yeah, that's all great. But this one by label owner Tom DiCiccio is the one. Yeah, and I wanted to play it because it's one of those tracks that every set I'll play it just changes the atmosphere a lot, and it's certainly been one of the most effective tracks that I've been playing this year. Yeah, it's a good slammer, but intelligently done. I'm gonna go through a few of these. This one is Violenter Dollinger, and this has a Manny D remix and an AND remix. Pretty slamming stuff all around. Actually, AND's remix being particularly hammering. Manny's remix being a really nice one, and yeah, overall some really nice reds. Vinyl as well. What the hell? I'll bang it out too. Manny's remix there. And then the other side. Very punishing stuff there. And then a nice straight ahead banger from A&D, doing what they do very well. Yeah. Now I've got a few ones here. I'm not going to play them all, but there's a few things that Stranger from who runs the Self Reflection label sent me. Very kindly sent me, and there's a few of them now. I'm going to play, first of all, I'm going to play this Paling Tracks one, which is him and a friend of his, I believe. So there's that, and this guy Stranger, he's Dutch. He actually, yeah, he's a really good upcoming producer now. He's putting out a lot of different stuff, a lot of different records. So he's actually got, it looks like he's got 3 different labels now. So he's got this one, Perspective, which is like a 10-inch offshoot label of his main label, which is Self Reflection, which he has done some great records on that had, getting back to what we were talking about there earlier, a real old school flavour to them. This one is a little bit more pure, I suppose, and it's on Paling Tracks. Yeah, nice jacking acid thing here. Nice looped vocal thing there as well. Yeah, nice kind of rhythm track there. The kicks aren't as heavy as the previous there, but can still be quite effective. But yeah, that's Paling Tracks. Then Perspective number 1. Who is that by? I think that could be by him. I'm not sure. Then there's another one here that is Self-Reflection, is this 5 or 6? This is 5, which is a sampler of a few different people, all of whom I can't remember at the moment, but I'm sure you'll be able to find out. Yeah, good kind of heavy acid one there. That's number 5. And number 6, which is this one, is by Hiroaki Izuka, which is what he has a track on the various one as well, and that's going to be number 6. So watch out for all of those. Self-Reflection, Perspective, and Paling Tracks then is another new label that he's doing. All great stuff, and someone you're going to be hearing a lot more of is Stranger. This one now is Perk kind of gave me. It's upcoming on Perk Tracks, and it's by Drax, aka Thomas Heckman. There's some pretty obnoxious acid there, but certainly not. How would I say? Some stuff of this type can be just all kick drum, but there's some nice rhythm in here too, which was always a trademark of Thomas Heckman's stuff and his Drax material. Nice shuffly stuff. This is the lead track, and it's called Acid Brick. Yeah, brilliant track. This one's called Razor Blade. And this is the thing with Heckman, where when he feels like it, he can just make some really fierce stuff. And nice to see him return to this moniker, because I don't think he's used the Drax name in a long time. They re-released Drax Phosphine with some remixes on Perk Tracks Limited before, but this appears to be all new material by him, which is really cool. Here's a new one on a new label, Picnic 34. Comes with a Christian Vogel remix. Now the only thing about it was it's actually marked the wrong way. It says this side original mix, that side Christian Vogel mix. So I thought this is the original. Now again, did I get my tempos right? Yeah, it should about be 45 actually, sorry. Well, yeah, seeing as it's a one track per side, I should have really copped that, but for this track. But yeah, this is the Vogel mix, a little bit more noodly, whereas the original is a bit more straight ahead. Nice little vocal that comes in there, I think.
What's going on? If you want to survive, you must stay with us. What's going on? What's going on?
And it actually could well have been Christian Vogel. When I heard it was a Christian Vogel mix, I thought, well, that makes sense. He's making kind of tougher stuff again. But the actual let's into a longer break. Yeah, big tune that one, and that's by Mario and Manella. Marieu, is that how I say it? Is one half of the Analog Cops. But yeah, there's more stuff to come on that label, and that's a really good one. Getting back to who I was talking about there earlier, Tension. This is Emanuel, actually. His name is on the record. And yeah, when I kind of hear someone make really good records like this, I reckon let's give these guys the respect they deserved. You know what I mean? He might have made a mistake with that Trezor record, or sampled some tunes, and like I said, I was surprised to hear that he did. But there's no doubt that he's making some of the best techno around at the moment, and they're all decent. I think it's all about this one though. and he's just going under the name Tension for this, and this is Tension 001. But yeah, bit of this kind of thing going on. One of the things about Emanuel stuff is he kind of brings his arrangements are slightly weird. He doesn't bring everything in. He doesn't use or doesn't appear to use 4 or 8 bar phrases when he's introducing something. He's kind of bringing in a hi-hat at an odd place, or he's bringing in the kick drum a little bit later or earlier than you thought. But you know, when you're hearing that out, it's no bad thing. It kind of keeps you guessing a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, pretty fierce that one, and nice coloured vinyl that one actually too. This one is by Sev Da. I'm just going to go straight to the tune that I'm playing off it. It's one on Random Islands. It actually reminds me a little bit of old Swedish techno, but that's the one that I've been playing the most of it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of old Henrik B and Adam Beyer a little bit. That's by Sev Da, and it's Random Island number 11. It also comes with a Knutson and Berg remix. I think it's Joanna Knutson, I think her name might be. There's a remix by them on it. Then here are a couple of things on Clone record store only series. Now on these basically these are pressed by Clone, and the whole idea is that they're only available to record stores. They don't they might sell them through their website, I think, but they don't go to regular shops, online stores or anything like that. They just go to record stores. So on this you can see it says All City on it, because it was got an All City in Dublin. So if All City, for instance, order 5 or 10 of these, then the guys from Clone go and write All City on those 5 or 10, which makes them exclusive to that shop, I suppose. Yeah, it's a nice idea. Kind of wonder how many they actually sell of them. But yeah, you'd hope that they might do some decent numbers on it. This one is by Vernon Felicity. Yeah, it's this one that I'm kind of going for the most of, I'd have to say. Nice sequence and some nice use of effects there. Yeah, it's a good one, that. And then there's another one by Quince, which is called REM. That's also worth watching out for. Here's one by Dexter, who I mentioned briefly earlier. Dexter has done some... he's probably best known for his electro, actually. I Don't Care, I think, was his big one that was out on Klaxon, I think it was, back in the day. Another label I mentioned there with him earlier. Yeah, I like this kind of tricky electro business. Yeah, nice to break things up. To break things up in a techno set with. Yeah, this is on his own white label series. It appears to be the second one on that. The stuff from him. Here is one by Kamikaze Space Program on Mindcut. Yeah, some nice rhythms. Yeah, that's Minecut 7, and it's called Chrome Don't Get You Home. Is the name of that one. Let's see. Here's one by Robert Hood. Yeah, it's really the complete package, isn't it? That Robert Hood just does it so well and so effortlessly. A bit of a mark on that. Actually, I've probably played this track a little bit more than the other side, but I think I prefer the other side. Sometimes happens that way. You prefer a particular track, but you find a better use for another one, if that makes sense. This one is by Minimum Syndicate, and this is on Umvelt's label, other label called Rave or Die, which is a new label. Probably recognise that sample from 1000 by Moby. Yeah, I love Minimum Syndicate stuff, I really do. They're one of my favourites. Umvelt as well isn't holding back here either. But yeah, don't sleep on these guys. And especially if you're French, you know who's going on, who's doing stuff in your own backyard, because those two guys are two gems. Well, actually, it's three people, two in Minimum Syndicate, and Umvelt is one person. But yeah, two great acts. Yeah, this one's by Bass Moy, more minimalists there. This is more 20. I think there's one or two I have missed since. I had the previous two then, which was the Sleep Archive and the Ecologist ones. I actually have both of them with me now, but I'm gonna play Bass's. There's another couple that have come out since. I think the A100 one. I think. This is one I've been playing the most on it actually. And the nice artwork of Alan Oldham there, the distinctive Alan Oldham artwork that appeared on all the D-Jax Upbeats releases over the years. And then AND doing what they do, slamming it out there as well, slamming it out at the end. Now, moving on, I don't know how we're doing time-wise, but let's see, Carlo Pusher album, and this one is on Boys Noise, which is kind of appears like a crazy label for him to be on, considering that I kind of know him. If it's the same Carlo Pusher, I know him from like breakcore stuff and that. much lower BPM actually than I was expecting from him. Not a million miles away maybe from some of the stuff Matrix Man is doing at the moment, and it certainly seems to be a popular kind of sound. That kind of sort of revivalist acid stuff that's knocking around. Yeah, it's decent stuff. A little bit of a break in there. Yeah, a lot of that acidy stuff. It kind of reminds me a bit of the James T. Cotton stuff that he did for so long as well. But yeah, that Cardo Pusher one's quite nice. Certainly we're investing a little bit of time into just to listen, because although I'm flicking through them quickly, there's a couple of standouts there. Here's one by Martin Hare and Joe Farr, or Joe Farr Martin Hare, whatever way you want to say it. Joe Hare and Martin Farr, doesn't sound bad either. Yeah, good slamming stuff there from both of those. It's called The Inside, and it's on Layla Records, which is a new label from Holland, from maybe Amsterdam, I think, who are doing good things at the moment. Right, let's get through a few of these. Bleaching Agent with Perk Remix, that's out a little while. It's a Bleaching Agent tune. There's the Perk Remix. Good rolling techno groove there. Nice stuff there from Al. Yeah, that's an Overlee assembly even, which is a good label, Scottish label. Now this one is by a guy called Jad Lever, or Jad Lever. Very promising UK producer. And this is on his own new label. I think he might run it with somebody else, I'm not sure. And it's called Blank Recordings. It reminds me a little bit of old Future Sound of London a little bit. That one. But yeah, solid offering from him. A good opening release. Here's one by Jeff Mills. It's the Exhibitionists. Exhibitionist 2 Part 1. I have Part 2 actually, but I'll play that in the next episode. Yeah, it's a good kind of spacey stuff that he does so well. And it's hard to compare him to anyone else really. He's just him, isn't he? Yeah. Sounds, dare I say, slightly fresh for him. There, we're back to the standard Mills. No surprises there, but always nice to hear Mills with a new record. I think that's the one I'm going for. Going to say there earlier sounds a little bit like Mike Parker, but maybe Mike Parker sounds a little bit like that. Here is a new one on, I think the name of the label is Music is Love, MIL, on a pretty funky looking vinyl here as well. It's by a producer called Kastle. a breaky acid thing. Yeah, really liking that. Yeah, no messing around with that one. I think that's the joint, but all the tunes are quite good on it. Here's another one by Andreas Gam. It's good. It's on a label called, what is the label called actually? Schrodinger's Box. Schrodinger's Box. Jack the Floor, I think, is the one here. Yeah, and yeah, Jack the Box, Jack the Floor, Jack anything. If you put that on a record, pitch it down, or if you happen to be American and can naturally do that voice the way he does, you're onto a winner. But yeah, I think the Jack the Floor, is it Jack the Floor? Is the I think that's the one off that. Andreas Gam is doing a serious amount of stuff at the moment. I don't want to say he's doing too much, but he's doing a lot. He always did do a lot, but it just seems like he's even more prominent. He's banging out more and more stuff. This one is on Dubtech, a new label from, I think they're from Leeds. This one has Jay Conlon, David Meiser on it. This is a Jay Conlon tune, I think. David Meiser has 2 tunes on it. It's got a remix too. Yeah, this is another one a little bit where it's like, oh, where's it gone? And then it comes back in. So yeah, nice one by Jake there. And yeah, across all 4 tracks. Solid enough stuff, but I think it's the Jay Conlon one there that I'm going for the most. Right, let's go through Delta Functioning. This is on his label Radio Matrix. It's quite nice. I think he's done a series of these actually. Let's see. Bit tougher there. Nice as well. Yeah, Delta Functioning is someone who right from the beginning had a pretty high level of production. I'm sure if you go back to any of his first releases, they're going to sound pretty tight. This one is by Electrabel. Like I said, I'm not going to play every single one. This one is by Electrabel. It's on Trabet Records, and it's got Electrabel, Louis Ruiz, Miguelu Anheru, and Josh LaRue. This one is by TW72, and it's got let's see, I'll play something in the background while I'm going through all of that. While I pick out yeah, maybe we'll play. No, I'll wait a second for that one. Yeah, maybe we'll play the new Unit Mobius one. It's number 11. Although looking around, it appears like this record might have been knocking around for a little while, or it was in the system on a couple of sites a few months back, but it only appeared to come out on Murder Capital. Yeah, I just missed number 12. This is number 11, but it appeared like there was less copies of number 12 available at the time, or else it just sold out really quickly. But that's the new one by Slot and Circle. This one then, as I said, let's see, I'll put on this Herman's one in the background. So a little bit of a roundup here. TW72 has a Marcus Sukkot, Samuli Kempi remix, and an A001 remix, who I believe is the guy I was talking about earlier. I must have got the name wrong actually. I think I called him A100. A001, who has a record out on Moors recently. This is a solid one from Hector Oaks. It's the Kepler 186 EP. And that is on Key Vinyl. pretty good label that you might have remembered a Shape Noise record on from before. This is a new one, Radial, Patrick Skoog and Chain. That is on a label. What is the name of this? Oh, Sample Hold. Radial is someone that makes a lot of stuff actually. Interesting seeing Patrick Skoog on a bit of a comeback now as well. He did a lot of great techno before, then once started doing the We Are stuff as the minimal scene kind of kicked in, but he seems to be coming back towards the heavier sound recently. This one by Brendan Muller and Marcellus. It's on Singular Records, and I think I have another record by them which I'm going to play. Let's see, another Drax record, this time a reissue, or re-releases of older tracks. Different remix of Amphetamine there actually, but he's also put Phosphine on it. This is by Miss Kitten and the Hacker, Lost Tracks Volume 1, and it's out on Dark Entries. Yeah, I suppose you might ask yourself, why did these tracks never come out back in the day? I'm not too sure why, but they're typical Miss Kitten and Hacker tunes from that time. Have to say, I always preferred the Hacker on his own. I wasn't completely into Miss Kitten doing vocals over the tracks. Didn't really work for me. But if you're into what they do, it's obviously essential, and there are still a couple of good ones on that. And it's a nice release to have, seeing as they haven't had any material in a long time. This is a new one by Invite on his label Invite's Choice Records. Hang on, the thing nearly fell over there actually. So this one is by somebody called Hermans. Yeah, pretty rugged sounding techno, and on the other side an acidy tune, and then another kind of one then at the end. This one by Invite, yeah, there was one in particular that stood out on this, I thought. So good kind of atmospheric kind of one, I suppose. But it's that one. A little bit, again, like I was mentioning sine wave earlier, a little bit like old sine wave stuff. Has that kind of groove there, and that kind of aquatic sound. Yeah, nice job by him. Invite, of course, Tim is his name, does the Invite's Choice podcast, one of the more well-known techno podcast series, and that's the first release on his own label, which uses the same name. Here's another one on T by TW or 72. I'll flick through very quickly. Okay, you get the idea there, kind of DJ Tool sort of stuff, like a lot of stuff that's around at the moment. And that's the Mike Daryl remix. There's the developer one, I think is the one on the other side, which was possibly the one I was enjoying most. Supports remix, yeah, I think it's this side is where it's at on that one. The A actually kind of reminds me of some of the old Axis releases, the way the font on the sides of the A as well. Inigo Kennedy, Requiem. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this at this stage. The Efteman, Kangding Ray, Regis, and Dasha Rush remixes on it. The Efteman one, I think, was the big tune from that. But all the tracks are quite good on that. That's out a little while. That one. It's the Dasha Rush one, is it? This is the Efteman one. It's done a nice job. So it's Regis, Dasha Rush on the other side, and then this one then is Kangding Ray after the Efteman one. So yeah, pretty strong lineup on that. Nice release on Token. Again, that's been out a little while, I think. So now quickly, not in the right cover, but we can look at it now quickly. Paul Johnson, it's a reissue thing. Track Series Volume 3. Just Whistle. It's actually got a version of Just Whistle, which is quite nice, but if you can track down the remix of Just Whistle that's on Dust Tracks, it's a bit better than that one. But a few nice ones on that. Here's one by G-Man. And it has got the Alden Tyrrell remix there, and an instrumental of it as well, without the vocal obviously. And then the original track there, which is okay. That's on Haus Music. It's actually called Haus Music or Haus Records. I think it is, or is it just called Haus? Pretty popular housey label of today. Then this one quickly. What have we got here? PT1. This is Happa doing some slightly different sound actually on this. And it has to be said for Happa, it has to be admired. He does do exactly what he wants, both in his DJ sets and on his productions. Nicely done there. So what else have we got? We've a few left. There's a Bruse Heroic thing, although this was out a while ago. It's an Heckman yoke. I'm not going to play that one now. Bruse Heroic, of course, coming in for a little bit of criticism recently because the owner of the label said a couple of things online that people didn't like, and yeah, it's a funny thing nowadays. You know, I think a lot of things can really backfire depending what you say online. There's no point going into all those things now, but hopefully people can look beyond you know, someone's online actions and not dismiss their whole record label as a result. Of course, some of the artwork and some of the images have been on some of their records have been pointed out as being a bit suspect. But you know, there's been in that they kind of glorify, you know, violence or what would be the word? Not profit from violence, but kind of use the imagery of suffering to kind of bolster the image of the label itself. But you know, they wouldn't be the first label that have done things like that. Don't forget as well, on one of the early British Murder Boys records, there's a very short sample at the beginning of one of the tracks that I forget the girl's name, but it's of a girl who'd actually been taken hostage, and her voice from that phone conversation that the police got access to at the time, they sampled that voice and used it on it. So you know, there's different levels of darkness, there's different levels of these things, some of which may be inappropriate, but you know, I think sometimes people can really go to town on and with Bruse Heroic, it did seem like he was a bit foolish with some of the stuff he said, but yeah. That one is by NX1, nice kind of jacking Rob Hood thing. JC Split Series. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I've seen the name JC. I'm not 100% sure who it is. It's just someone called JC. There could be some kind of link with the transhumans or something like that. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong there. So now in the home straight, and yeah, it seems like we've done a pretty epic quarterly crate this time. They just seem to be getting longer, and I do kind of come with the with the intention of making them shorter actually, but they just end up being longer. So I don't know, work that out. I don't really know how that happens. Yeah. This one is by a new act, or newish act, producer called Stoic Mass, and I think he's kind of messed around with his name a little bit. His name is actually Sam Coates, I would say. I think it is. Yeah, it's good stuff. It is, dare I say, quite Berghain style techno, but done exceptionally well. It's the other side, especially, that is the big kind of reaction tune on this. I'd imagine a lot of people have been playing this particular one. And it's on Work Them Records, Spencer Parker's label. Putting out some really good dance floor techno. So yeah, nice one by him. Right now, moving on. Okay, I think I already played the Kamikaze Space Program one. Here is one coming up on Earwiggle, and it's going to be by Manny D. This is just a test pressing. The Belting Asses track. It's the A1 there. Then another slammer here as well. A lot of atmosphere, and there's a lot of techno with atmosphere or with drones and all the rest. But I think when we look back on this era or time or stage of techno, I think Manny will be one of the guys who's done that style really, really well. Yeah, very talented producer. And he does a lot of this kind of broken rhythm stuff as well, and it was really nice to have a track like this for the inside as well. Yeah, good stuff from him. This is kind of a distorted techno thing called Basement Tools Volume 2, and it's by Leibniz and Credit 00. And it's on Rat Life. I think Rat Life's the name of the label, or is it the name of the person? I should know that. Oh wait, no, it's, oh yeah, that's all the people that are thanking there. Let me see. Let's get to the bottom of this. Yeah, Rat Life is the name of it. Rat 5. Here's one on Trezor. I think this is one from. I think this is within the time frame of for this video. As I said, we. Oh no, this is the DJ Deep and Roman Ponset one. Ah, fuck, I've done that again. That's the second time I've done that in this show. Sorry. I've actually brought the wrong record. Yeah, well, these things happen. I meant to bring the other. Maybe I still have it here. Maybe I do still have it here. No, I don't. Anyway, apologies for that. This one's by Marco Bernardi. But what I might do in the meantime is I'll go back to the Brendan Muller and Marcellus record. I thought I had one by them on Trezor. Maybe I got that wrong. With Marco Bernardi. Deep Electro. Yeah, and he really is one of the one of the most solid electro producers around. And he does various kind of stuff actually. And this is on Broken Toys. Haunted electro that he does that I go for the most, and yeah, another strong offering by him. We'll get rid of that. Yeah, let's play the Molar and Marcellus one quickly. me of. Definitely. Yeah. Kind of 90 sounding on that side. This is a little bit different. A little bit more broken. Atmospheric. And Brendan Moeller probably bringing some of his dubbiness to the project as well. So yeah, two varying kind of sides. The other side being a little bit more full on. Now where are we? Oscode, Exile, Chest Reworks. This is by Oliver Roseman, who's one half of Juliet. And pretty fierce stuff, intense. This is on a new label called Oscode's Exile. I'll check which one is which. That was the Espen Lauritsen remix with Louis Ruiz on the first tune, and then on this side, then that's the original, and this is the Julius remix. So he's actually done a remix of his own tune, except with Mascon, who makes up the other part of Juliet. So close to the end now. Here is one by Steve O'Sullivan. Is it on? I was going to say, yeah, Sushi Tech. Yeah, Steve O'Sullivan. It's nice to see him back, actually, doing a bit similar to Aubrey. He was someone that kind of disappeared for a while, but is now putting out a lot of stuff again, and is putting out a lot of stuff on his own label, Mosaic. Yeah, he's a very good minimal techno producer. Yeah, always someone I've kind of put in the minimal, deeper kind of area. He does it quite well, but certainly very very effective tracks at the right time. This is on a label called Voitax. These guys are from Germany. I think they're from Berlin, as far as I know. They kindly sent me this one, and thanks, guys. This one then on the other side. I think I've played a record by theirs before on the show. And comes with a kind of insert. Kind of a skewed picture of a field or something there as well. So yeah, nice stuff on that Voitax. There's a lot of kind of darker sort of droney sort of music out there, but I have to say of the stuff that's out there, I think that they have a nice vibe going with it. A couple of Jay Tyne things here. I won't play both of them, but I'll play the one on Bedouin. Jay Tyne being a very talented UK producer. And this one is on Bedouin, who are based in the United Arab Emirates. Salem being the guy that runs it, who's doing great work with the label. They have a few different releases out at the moment. I think they put out about 3 in a row. One has Hieroglyphic Being on it. Another one is Imaginary Forces, I think is their name, or his name, or whatever. There's this Jay Tyne one that's been knocking around for a little while also. And he's a pretty ambitious schedule lined up ahead. Yeah. Trying to think which my favourite is of that. Liking all of them actually. So that's one by Jay Tyne, and he had another one out on a label called Naked Naked as well, which is worth watching out for. Played that one. Here is Mr. Jones's album, which was out quite recently. And yeah, some pretty excruciating sounds there. He's really pushed a lot of the sounds in this. Quite distorted. Truth About Robots is that one. Another nice kind of intro-y kind of track there. Probably one of the bigger dance floor tunes on it as well. No doubt, pretty manic on a really big sound system. I'd imagine that's been caned by Dave Clark, who of course is his studio partner. But the name they go under is Unsubscribe, as you probably know. But this is all Mr. Jones. And this is his debut album on the Public Stand, and it's called The Sounds of the Mute, I think is Sounds for the Mute, yeah. A little bit of Planetary Assault System-esque there. Yeah, nice debut album from him, watch out for that. This one then is on Convex Industries, which is by Defect and John Convex. A pairing that you might not have anticipated working together, but they have been, and they've come up with some really good results actually. John Convex is someone who's been away for a while. He did the instrumental stuff with Bodica, and Bodica obviously is doing his own thing now and doing very well, while John Convex seemed to disappear for a while, but now he's back and putting out some really good records in Convex Industries, and putting out tracks like this with Defect, which is really good. Only one thing about it is it's quite slow, so you have to pitch it up. Compared to some other tracks that I played tonight, it's relatively slow, but it's worth pitching it up to get it in there. Really big tune actually. I'll let the breakdown play on this. Yeah, really good combination of styles there. You can definitely hear them both. Like Matt is a serious producer himself, but I think that the two of them together, and it's even more heavyweight. Really well produced. Really sounds really good out that tune actually. In ways, and I said it to Matt as well, it would have been awesome if it had been out a little bit earlier in the year, because I could have seen that being a really big tune at festivals and so on. But hopefully it's still getting played out as much as it as much as it should be. This one is by, who's it by? It's on Ars Audio. It's got a Cardo Pusher remix who we were talking about earlier. Oh yeah, nice break there. Actually, is this something that is G23 related? I seem to remember playing something by on this label earlier in the year, which is a really good kind of ravey hardcore track. Yeah, go and check that out actually. Audio, so that one is by Strange Audio Dreams. I think this is an Italian label. Nice stuff there. So we're nearly just about there. Dyad, which is Ben Gibson. Is it Ben Gibson and someone else together? Yeah, Ben Gibson and Mark Asbury. Yeah, and I met Ben actually over in London recently. I think he said there's another one. I think Dyad number 3 is nearly ready to go. And I believe the guy that was with him that night must have been Mark Asbury. Assuming that the guy that runs the label is Mark Asbury. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, nice stuff there. And then Quartz is popping up in a fair few places. Has done a remix on that as well. So that's Dyad, who has done that one. Nearly there, Alex Cortex, who is one of the really unique producers in techno. The guy who nearly gave up at one point actually. Could have been just a cry for help online, as sometimes happens when people are getting pissed off with the whole scene and stuff. He was saying he was going to give up and whatnot, and I'm really glad he didn't actually. There's a Perseus Tracks remix on this. There's a Florian Kupfer remix on it too. So let's see what thing. What label is it on? It's on shit, I don't know what label it's on, but it's by Alex Cortex, and there's a Perseus Tracks remix and a Florian Kupfer dub on it. Bar 003. So the Barba is the name of the label, it appears. So almost there now. Here's one by Comb and who's that? Comb and Coldgeist. Okay. Come and Coldgeist. Yeah, there's Millsy stuff going on there. Oh yeah, and here's our friend in Aeternam Vale, has done a remix on that as well. I'm not sure if it's this one. Which one is side B? This should be side B. Oh no, this is side A. So this is the In Aeternam Vale remix. Okay, and that's On Course of Initiation is the name of that. Almost there. This one is by Jesper Dalbach and Tony Rohr, and it's on Blank. Now we had a Blank earlier, which is Blank Recordings, which Jad Lever is doing. This is on Blank, which has been going a lot of years actually, but they kind of came back recently again. You might remember some of the old Lank remixes, which was Jesper Dalbach. Yeah, I've been kind of glad to see Jesper Dalbach come back. He's made some kind of harder techno stuff, which is fine, but I kind of like when he does other more shuffly 8080 kind of stuff and deeper stuff and dubbier. To be honest, I like all of Jesper Dalbach's output, but yeah, especially like his acid stuff. And some of the stuff that was on that side. This one is him and Tony Rohr. Yeah. I don't know what I think of the vocal. That stuff kind of works. Won't really be that track that I'll be playing, I don't think. But yeah, the other side, which is and Tony Rohr is actually a guy whose music I used to love, and then he kind of disappeared. Yeah, that one's decent. still thinking it's that side that I would prefer. Okay, just about there now. This one is oh wow, okay. So who have we got here again? Mobius, I think Connie Plank. So some old krautrock legends remixed by and Neumeier, remixed by Richard Fearless here, and it's on a label called Select, is it? Euro B as well, I'm seeing here. So the original versions first appeared in 1983. Now Richard Fearless is on this. He's done both of the remixes. He's done this, which what definitely wasn't expected from Richard Fearless. Yeah, pretty mean for him. Richard Fearless, of course, being the main guy in Debt in Vegas, but he's one of those people that every so often he'd play a DJ set and it would be like, oh, techno set by Richard Fearless. Same way like David Holmes would play and be like, David Holmes techno set. But like the thing with David Holmes was he was kind of known. He was a celebrated techno DJ. With Richard Fearless, I often wondered, oh right, Richard Fearless DJ techno set. Oh right, okay, what's this about? And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that. But needless to say, very surprised by this. I never linked Richard Fearless with techno ever, hence why I never got too excited when he was going to play a techno set. But I was very excited when I heard this side. Yeah, a lot of urgency there. But yeah, very able producer, and interesting to see him do that. And okay. Second last, penultimate record. This one is by Dynamo Driesen. Sven. That's Sven without the E. And it's on Acedo Records, who've been going for quite some time. It's a real type of record you pick up in hard wax. And this, I'm assuming this is the Made Up Sounds tune. Certainly sounds like him. Yeah, and that's the joint here without doubt. The others are alright. Let's go back to them for a sec. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I can live without those, but I can definitely yeah, I can definitely warm to the groove of that. And then finally, and it's been out a little while, but it did come out during the third quarter, which makes it eligible. Oh god, we've got one more here. Actually, maybe I'll play this then quickly, which is head front panel. Is it 10.5? Yeah. So these were a couple of remaining tracks from the batch of head front panel stuff that came out before, and this is on a 10-inch version or 10-inch record. I don't know if there's going to be more 10 inches, but all the rest are 12s. Yeah, this of course is John Heckle. Great stuff from him. Proper intense, and Jeff Mills influenced techno, I suppose. But yeah, that whole series is great. Try and track down any of those actually if you can. And then finally, one by Aphex Twin. And I think it might have been the first one under the AFX name in quite some time. And vintage, classic sounding Aphex Twin. Probably my favourite out of any of the recent stuff he's done. Then again, I didn't get sucked into the whole SoundCloud stuff. I believe there's lots of amazing stuff that he put up on that SoundCloud that time, which I really need to listen to. But of the recent records, I think this is my favourite thing that I've heard. So it is called DJ Select 2006 to 2008. So I don't know if that means that he... Oh wait, Orphans DJ Select 2006 to 2008. So some nice tricky rhythms on that. But yeah, no, we'll close with this. And yeah, till next time. Thanks a lot for watching and checking this out. Goodbye.